Hello, my name is Scott Taylor, and today we are talking about the Nancy Pax Inc. Comp Report template. We're on version 7.4. Today we are going to be conducting the research of data. That is, we're going to be researching listings that we will ultimately put into the comp template and use those to produce a report. So in effect, this is pre-template. You're not even needing to open the template right now. You're just going out into the universe of the internet to find data. Today is 3/1/2013. Okay, so we are going to be going to StreetEasy.com. That's going to be the website we are going to be using. If you don't know, StreetEasy is a very, very comprehensive portal with probably some of the most accurate and comprehensive listings in New York. We use it as our preferred source for listings because it's quick, easy to use. It has as I said, a pretty decent, excellent selection, and they provide a nice export feature so that we can use these listings in our reports. As you can see, they have both sales and rentals. Today we're going to be doing a rental search. Obviously, the process is exactly the same for a sales search, so we'll just show you one, and then you can port it over to the other one if you wish. Two things on this. So we went to rentals. Sorry, I jumped ahead a little bit. We went to rentals, and then we clicked on advanced search. You always want to do an advanced search if you want to really help yourself narrow in on listings. You can also do a basic search and then sort of limit it from there. But I like to do the advanced search because one, you can do this, which is put first unavailable listings. We're more concerned with rented listings first on this page, and then we can go and do available listings, just because there's a function of the program that if you do current listings, it's harder to get to unavailable. Just take my word for it if you don't know what I'm saying. But on this page, it's better to look at the unavailable listings, and then you can, on the results page, filter it to include those listings that are on the market right now. Okay, so we're going to be looking at three different types of search today. One is an in-building search, the other is a neighborhood search, and then the third is a custom boundary. Each of them is slightly different, used in slightly different scenarios, but all are very effective and efficient ways to get the data you want. So the first one we're going to be doing is in buildings. So this would be a type of search when we know the exact addresses that we want to use in our report. Say we are on site at a building, we know the 3 buildings or 4 buildings around us that are the most important comps, then we're just going to go right here. Don't do a neighborhood search and get all of the extraneous data. We're just going to punch in those right here. So let's say we want to look in sort of the west side a little bit. We're going to look at 125 West 31st Street. We're going to look at 505 West 37th Street. I know it's kind of not a logical search, but it's just to show the point. And then we're going to look at 620 West 42nd Street. So those 3 addresses we enter. As you can see, I clicked add another if I want to add more, and I clicked the X to delete it if I want fewer, and that's pretty much squared away. We have the listing status, only unavailable listings. You want to use unavailable listings and not rented listings because some buildings and management companies just quote take an apartment off the market, which means it's not technically rented in the system, although we know intuitively that if you're putting an apartment on the market for a couple months and then taking it off, the highest probability is that it was rented. Okay, and then up here you get these 2 features. Obviously this middle one, I include only listings in contract. We're going to ignore that entirely. These 2 up here include all listings. That's actually include all available listings is really what it should say. And then from those available listings, we can exclude listings that are already in contract. That is, they have contracts signed if it's a sale, or maybe leases are signed pending payment for a rental. And we're gonna use this one because we don't really need those listings that are in and in between status. Once we've got all these set exactly how we want them, we're going to click on search, and StreetEasy will go into its portal and find all of the available or unavailable listings depending on what we selected. I ended up in this. Oh, okay. So now it lets me do this from here. Great. It used to not, if I started here, it used to not give me the availability to go to unavailable, but it's doing so now, so that's great. So this happens to be currently available listings in these 3 buildings. Epic Silver Towers and 505 West 37th. Great, we're happy to see that. 27 listings, we're ready to go. We're going to click export, and you can see with that little animation that it's saving it in my downloads folder. I'm on a Mac. You might not get the same animation on a Windows, but the process is the same. Now, from here, we're going to take exclude listings already in contract. We got that. Now we want to include only unavailable listings, those listings that are no longer on the market, again in these 3 buildings. Yeah, I did this earlier, so I'm glad I'm recording while I did it. It has a little glitch sometimes that I've noticed. When we originally entered these addresses, we had the sort of the modifier of the number, so 37 TH Street. Those, for whatever reason, came out in our search, and so we just need to go back and add those in. Just be mindful that technology is not always perfect, and so you have to kind of work with things. So, and even sometimes it doesn't work twice. So let's get rid of all this New York stuff. Little bit of a glitch. They're pretty good about fixing these. I'm sure that'll be resolved, maybe even by the time this video is seen. Okay. So now we're looking for unavailable listings, and voila, we have it here. You can see we found 945 unavailable listings in these 3 buildings. This should be noted that this is all unavailable listings in the history of these buildings. It doesn't have a time constraint in terms of I'm only looking back for 6 months or a year. So this is throughout all time. And again, we're going to click export here, and now we have our rented listings in those 3 buildings. Once we get that once we get that file downloaded, now we have 2 downloads. In our downloads, you can see we have 2 listings, 2 sets of listings. I've done obviously previous ones, so that's where all these are. But the different listings here are in their own individual files, which are ready to import into our template, which will be another video. Okay, there it goes. Now, that was the first search. We're done, ready to go if we wanted to do a search into just using those specific addresses as we just did. Now, let's say we don't know the specific buildings, but we know it's going to be in a general neighborhood. So whereas before we had those 3 addresses, now we just want to look at buildings in Chelsea. You could also do Midtown West. Problem is, the more neighborhoods you do, the larger geographic area you do, the more extraneous data you get. So for example, if we were looking on the west side, it would be very unlikely that we'd be interested in buildings all the way from 14th to 59th west of 5th or 6th Avenue. So this kind of search, generally speaking, is broader than you might want. So you could do it just a neighborhood search, and then I'm going to show you the custom boundary later, which will be even probably more specific to your needs. So listing status, I'm going to go to unavailable listings, and I'm going to click search. Very, very simple, very, very straightforward. And you can see on the map, it gives you, now we've got 25,000 listings here. It's a lot of listings in a very, very limited amount of time. Limited geographic area. But again, if you're looking if you have a building that you're comping from 10th Avenue or 9th Avenue, you sort of have to decide based on your own research, is the 6th Avenue building a comp? That's sort of on you. Likewise, if you're looking at a building between 6th and 7th, is 11th and 12th, 10th and 11th, are those really comps? That's kind of, that's obviously for you to decide, but this is one of the limitations with doing a geographic search. Same thing as before, we're going to click export. But remember we had 900 and something listings last time. Now, we've exceeded the number of listings that we're allowed to export, which is 1,000. We're going to continue and export only those first 1,000 listings. The great, if not genius thing that StreetEasy does is it takes that, you can see over here, 25,000 listings, and it narrows them, and it sorts them by it sorts them by date of close, by their closed date. So these are available or rented listings, excuse me, unavailable or rented listings, and it's going to export the first 1,000 looking back. So listings that were rented today, yesterday, the day before that are going to be the first ones that are included. So listings that maybe rented 4 or 5 years ago might not make that first 1,000 listings. And we're going to go back later, open up this file, and see, you know, even in this broad search in Chelsea, how long it takes, or how far back our search is going to include. Most of the time when you're doing searches, you're only going to be doing searches for currently available and listings that were rented in the past, 3 months, 6 months, or a year. It's sort of probably the most likely scenario. Once in a blue moon, you might do it over the last 2 years if you had a very specific search. But for the most part, it's going to be a year, and you're going to find that these, even at that size, 25,000, the first 1,000 will be well over the previous year. You see, we again switched over to exclude listings already in contract. Click search, and we're ready to go. We could export this again, but I think at this point you understand the procedure for the neighborhood search. Now, the most interesting and innovative feature, in my humble opinion, that StreetEasy has created is this custom boundary. As you see, we click custom boundary, and that nice little animation where the yellow highlight kind of pops up to show you that something is new. Is really nice. We're going to click right here, left click on custom boundary, and then we have this box that is hovering over a Google map. We can grab this four arrow sort of thing in the middle here and drag it around as we want. The great thing about this feature, it's pretty obvious what it's doing. This is going to be the area that it's searching for listings. It's got geotagged over a Google Maps interface, geotagged listings over a Google Maps interface, which provides extremely specific addresses that it'll return. Now, this might seem just to be kind of replicating the neighborhood search in some ways, but it's much different. So one of the sort of obvious examples is this proverbial neighborhood, quote unquote, called Union Square. Union Square really comprises of the far southeast corner of Chelsea, the Flatiron, Gramercy Park, the far northwest corner of the East Village, the northern half of the Central Village, and the northeast quarter of the West Village. So let's say we were doing a search for Union Square. We wouldn't want to enter Chelsea because we're going to get all of this stuff out in 8th, 9th, and 10th Avenue. Same thing with the West Village. We're going to get deep into Hudson and Greenwich and Washington streets, which may or may not be applicable to a comp that's being done in Union Square. So we're going to just kind of put this box over Union Square, and let's say we'll go up to 23rd, and we'll even go out to 7th. So we'll go 2nd to 7th. It's about right. But again, you can decide for yourself how far you want to go down, how far you want to go up. We'll go down to just below Washington Square. Okay. So now, actually, let's go down a little further and say we're going to include more of NoHo, but we're going to put a caveat on this, because let's say, all right, we've now done this big block around Union Square, but really we don't want NYU, that heart of NYU stuff. We don't really want that in our search. So you can even go so far as to create this little polygon that kind of hovers around wherever you want. Then maybe you say, oh, but there's those lower 5th Avenue buildings that are really nice, those pre-war buildings. So let's include those too. And so you really can just kind of customize your polygon to exactly how you want it to, the area that you wanted it to do. So you're getting rid of all this extraneous matter on the outside, Avenue C in the East Village, stuff that's not going to probably apply to a Union Square type of, comparable report. So we can go down here and give it a name, Union Squarea, accept, and bam. Now we've got this beautiful little polygon here in red showing you again that you've done this custom boundary. You click search. This again based on its geotag location, produces a beautiful polygon shape with all of your listings falling right inside of it. A couple things to note: you can, depending on what you want to do here, you can. So, for example, I went out to roughly 7th Avenue, and if I was doing the search for real, I would probably be a little more specific about where I wanted it to be. But there's two ways in which you can do it. You can go right to the center of the street, which will include only listings on one side, or you might want to go a little bit off of the street so that it includes all those buildings with avenues right on the with addresses right on the avenue that you're looking out to. Again, it's more of an art that you might decide for yourself about what you want to do. Again, you do the export, you go over here, you go to available, you do the export, and you're good to go. That is basically the simplicity of researching data by StreetEasy search. If you have any questions, of course, you can always email me, staylor@nancypacksinc.com. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have or guide you through the research process or any other part of the template that you might have. Thank you for watching, and I will be back soon with another edition of the training videos. Thank you.